Live from Hollywood, this is the KTLA Morning Show.
The road to great architecture makes a stop in the world of fashion. Designer Elena Manferdini tells us how creating clothes helps her make great buildings. We're back in a moment.
Here's the question. What do fashion, architecture, and industrial design all have in common? Well, a whole lot. Our next guest knows all about it. We want to welcome to the show engineer, architect, and fashion designer Elena Manferdini. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Now, we found out about you in the September issue of Los Angeles Magazine.
It just came out.
It just came out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We want to know how an engineer, an architect, and a fashion designer, what is the common thread?
Actually, I think that those three fields have in common the human figure to find their dimension, and they have in common also materials and tools that designers use to go from one to another.
Now, a layperson like me would think those are huge projects compared to an outfit. It seems like a world apart.
Actually, it isn't. Lately, designers are using the same tools, same computer tools, so it becomes easier to go from one field to another. For instance, the dress that we see here is designed with the same computer tool that I'm using for buildings.
Really?
And the same tools to produce panels, for instance, for a building can be used to produce a dress.
I want
like
you to see the back of this. Just turn and show the camera the back of this. How do you cut this into the fabric?
This fabric is actually cut with a laser. So the computer programs a laser cutting machine that creates this intricate lace on the model body.
Okay, and so then you say that you translate what we see here with the laser to this model of a building.
Exactly.
And it's the same process that would cut
exactly
this
the same
material?
process. Another material, but the same process. So, for instance, all of this cladding has been cut with the same tools and has been designed with the same tools. This is actually a project that's been built in China.
It's already been built?
Yes, has been built.
And I think we have a picture of it,
Yes.
so we can show you how it translates into a real-world structure.
So, for instance, what you see just now on the screen is in Beijing, in China. That was the West Coast Pavilion that represented the United States for the Architectural Biennale last year.
And do you start with the dress and move to the model, and then, or does one come before the other?
Actually, in this case, yes. Fashion is for me a little bit of a playground for form making in a very quick way, and then I translate that into buildings.
Well, speaking of buildings, let's move on to this next project that you're currently working on. This is a model. I actually thought it was sort of a Star Trek spaceship, but you say this is a building. And where is this building?
Actually, this is in Italy. It's a part of a big development I'm working on, 250,000 square feet, and this is the piece of jewelry, let's say, of the development. It's a museum, an open theater, and a library.
It must give you such great pleasure because we know, of course, you're from Italy.
Yes.
To be able to produce something for your own country.
It's great. This is a very big project for me, so I'm really happy with that.
Are there a lot of other designers and architects and engineers that are doing this crossover?
Actually, not that many are doing a crossover between fashion and architecture, but there are some examples in history, like Miss Sony, for instance, was an architect and is now in fashion design. So there are some examples.
And you're another one. She's a girl that's doing it.
Okay.
Now, lastly, we're going to move on to sort of more a project that you could actually have in your home. Obviously, these projects are a little bigger. This is a beautiful chess set.
Yes.
And you say it's the same kind of process that you would use to design the dress and these other buildings.
Industrial design, actually, maybe is one of the fields that use those tools first, because rapid prototyping was applied to small objects first. So, for instance, this chess set is actually laser cut with silver.
I don't know if you can see on top of it. It's really beautiful, but it's almost that same lace pattern that we saw on the building.
Exactly.
And in the dress. And it's done with laser.
Yes, it is.
And laser has changed the world of engineering and architecture.
With other tools, we have several right now. So actually it's expanding, and the cheaper they become, the more you can use them for actually mass production. That's a big change.
And it's almost as though these techniques don't see borders. I mean, this is happening the world over with engineers and architects.
I think so. I think they are crossing the design field. So all of us are using.
Class, haven't we learned a whole lot today? This has been really fascinating, watching how a design moves through fashion and function and into form. Thank you so much. Elena Manferdini is incredible, and she's on the cover, or not on the cover, rather. Well, maybe one day you'll be on the cover, darling. She's in the current September issue of Los Angeles Magazine. You can find it on newsstands. And, of course, here's the information on Elena. We'll point you to her at KTLA.com. What a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations and continued success.
Thank you.
Now, I think we all should go to Italy to see her new building.